YouTube, going on back another Wuthering Waves video. I wanted to touch on this whole expiration situation we have going on right now with WUWA. I think 2.2 looks really solid. I think it's like at least a 7, could possibly be an 8. I'm personally very excited for Cantarilla. I'm excited for Arrow Rover. I'm going to make a separate video on why I think people are not happy with those two characters in particular. But one of the things that came with this was the fact that Cantarilla has a lot faster swim time, and she's able to pretty much kind of do a heavy attack mid-swim, go high enough in the air, and then she can immediately flight. And so it's bringing up a discussion of locked quality of life, and I think it's a very interesting topic to talk about. We've seen quality of life added to character kits already in this game. To me, the 3 biggest scenarios that I've seen, possibly 4, would be Carlotta's 20% extra glide, which I don't think is that big of a deal personally. The Peeb glide, which I think is a little frustrating, but it's not, again, that big of the deal in game breaking. We do see Lumi gets a fast sprint, which is kind of whatever. That requires you to use Lumi and Lumi's bun, so have fun. And then you have the Cantarella thing. So here's the thing. The people are saying it's bad as Genshin. They're dumb. This game, it's not as bad as Genshin at all in the slightest. It is the principle that WUWA and Koro Games are willing and continuously willing to add certain mechanisms that makes your traversal a lot easier / more beneficial behind paywalls, and people don't want to deal with that again. So let's go over it. One big thing that I don't like personally with Peeb is this. So I'm gonna let my stamina regen in her kit. She's specifically designed for this. I saw someone on Twitter tell me that they don't think Koro has bad intentions, and I don't think so either. At the end of the day, it's a gacha game. It has to sell. But if you look at her normal attacks here, it says consume stamina to ride her staff for a distance. Can recast after midair dodge or using grapple. She also then, one of her inherent skills is a mid-air heavy attack can be cast more than once. They specifically are adding this to her kit so that way people can utilize it, especially in the 1.0 region, because the 1.0 region doesn't have flight time. So here, how does this work? Very simple. 1, 2, I'm going to dodge, 1, 2, and I'm going to hit my grappling hook, 1, 2. That's a fair amount of distance. That's a pretty solid amount. Now, this is not a problem in the 2.0 area. I almost spilled my sangria. This is not a problem in the 2.0 area because you have flight. You have flight. So in Renacida, it doesn't really matter. Kind of a non-factor. When you go to the original area in 1.0, that's wherein lies the problem, where people feel like they have to pull for Peeb. Now, again, I don't think the urge or the necessity to pull for Peeb is anywhere close to a Mavica who can literally fly, a Chaska who could fly, this new character that's coming out. Like, it's not even on the same playing field of predatory practices. Again, though, it is the same principle. There are parallels in the fact that both games are they are hiding some sort of quality of life behind a paywall. Now, in the situation of Peeb, it's very simple. It's very, very simple. And I actually think that this would fix all the problems. Adding flight to these other regions. Now, I'm under the impression that the game was not designed for the 1.0 regions to have flight, right? But I meant, again, you know, if I'm able to do this, right? We'll use the grapple. Again, that's a lot of distance to cover, right? If you have flight, it's not really a big deal. And if you add flight to other regions that are coming past Renacida, because we don't know what they'll have, I think it's whatever. So in Peeb's specific example, is this game breaking? Is this a situation where it's going to ruin the game? And no, it's just not. It's not going to do that. Peeb is a great character. You should pull for them regardless. But traversing through 1.0 is a hassle. It is a hassle. It's a chore. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm kind of tired of it. I've given up on doing an exploration there. I'll just stick with Renacida and anything past that, right? Now, again, the problem is the principle. So when you look at Cantarilla, her getting her Forte circuit immediately, as well as being able to immediately jump into flight from the water, clearly there is going to be a large amount of water in 2.2. I mean, I just feel like they wouldn't include that passive there if there wasn't going to be large amounts of water. Now, is this going to break the game? No. No, 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 no. Not even in the slightest. And I'm sure there will be free-to-play alternatives like the gondola or whatever the case may be. And I know that there are people online saying, well, it's not really a big deal because you can technically do that in-game already if you are smart. And I'll show you exactly how you could fly out of water. So you go into a body of water real quick. And then you just start swimming, whatever. So I do this, and then I swap to flight, and oh, look, it didn't even work. It didn't even work. Maybe I wasn't too deep into the water, so I have to wait 6 seconds. And as you can see, it didn't immediately work. But with Cantarella, you're not going to have that. You heavy attack, and immediately this will work. So you have to do this, and then swap over to here. And yes, this is possible, but it's a nuisance. It's annoying, and you just saw it didn't work there, right? And so with Cantarella, it's like, look, again, it's not game-breaking, but it feels like Koro Games is doing limit testing. They keep adding little things to the game to see how far they can go. Yes, it is a gacha game. It has to make money. I'm there. I don't, like, I get it. I'm with you for sure. The problem is, I have faith in Koro Game. I do. I believe Koro Games will do things tastefully, but we're seeing a pattern. The pattern is still happening. Yes, you could use Inferno Rider in the 1.0 area, and then that's on like an 18-second cooldown. And then you can run with Lumi. Congratulations. It just doesn't feel good. These alternatives compared to, which, by the way, Lumi is still a paid character. You have to spend some sort of money or Asterite in order to get Lumi, right? But it just feels like they have the potential to go in that direction. And that's what people are frustrated about, right? Nowhere near Genshin's predatory practices, nowhere near Mavica or any of these characters at Chaska, but to feign ignorance and to not call this out would be hypocritical. I hope Wuwa doesn't go down this path where we get more of this. I don't want to see it. Some people were telling me that Shorekeeper's holding down ability. Well, why didn't you complain about that? Bro, she fucking picks up butterflies. There's an Echo that fucking does that. I don't care, and I don't need to pick those bullshits up. If I do it, I run around, I farm it, right? So nothing is game-breaking at the moment. It is increasingly getting a little bit more annoying. And going back to the Carlotta flight, I completely overlooked it because I was like, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. Even though Carlotta in her base kit, for people who are not aware, gives that 20% extra flight to anyone as long as she's on the team. Where is it? Is it Forte? It's somewhere over here. When Carlotta's on the team, the active resonator's flight cost is reduced by 20%. I didn't think it was that big of a deal because you already have a plethora of stamina. So, but things like this, or, well, this one again, I'll kind of disregard. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But Peeb or Cantarilla, it's like, these could be gadgets. Why can't you add, maybe, if you can't add flight to, let's say, Renacita, more grappling hooks? I could do 5 grappling hooks. I could do a grappling hook to an Echo. I don't know, something. Like, they're devs. They can come up with something. And so, yeah, that's the problem. Nobody wants to see it turn into Genshin. So that's why people are being a bit cautious. And I think to call it Genshin PTSD is a little silly because at the end of the day, it is a gacha game. All gacha games are intrinsically predatory. And this is now creeping up on when the game is really good. The game is really good for a gacha game. So that's my thoughts on it. Again, it's not the end of the world, but let's not pretend that this cannot potentially translate into a problem, or isn't a problem now for some people. Some people are frustrated with this, and I don't think you could blame them. I wouldn't quit the game over Phoebe's flying at 1.0 or Cantarilla getting unlimited swim, unless that new area is really frustrating. I'm still not going to quit, but I'm like, damn, this sucks. But let's calm down. Calm down. The Doom poster saying this is the worst thing of all time. Shut the fuck up. And the people saying, well, this isn't a problem at all, go fuck yourself. Shut up as well. Stop defending it. There's no need to defend a multi-million-dollar corporation backed up by Tencent. Calm your tits. Let's see what happens. But speak about the fact that, hey, this is a little wonky. This doesn't feel too good. That being said, I love you. I'll see you in the next one.